Hey everyone, good morning. It's Rebecca Undum and we are live, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. I am in rural North Dakota, coming at you live today. I'm Rebecca Undum. You're on my business page, and this is our Facebook Live show. We're on week 3 already, which is pretty exciting. So for those of you that don't know me or are new to me or joining me, maybe you were invited by a friend. Again, my name is Rebecca Undum. I call myself a groove finder. I am the author of the book, How Mommy Got Her Groove Back, and the founder of Groove School. And we started this little Facebook Live show a few weeks back just to give people another way to kind of learn the things that I'm all about. I'm kind of a personal and professional development junkie. And like I said right away when we started, I'm calling from a rural place in the middle of nowhere. Basically, I'm over 70 miles from the closest Target. And so talking to people in rural America is really where my passion lies, where my heart lies. And so that's the groove that I'm helping people find. So as we're waiting for people to come on, I shot an episode last Monday, the week of the 4th. Which honestly, a lot of you might even still be on vacation. We're taking our family vacation on Wednesday. But I had done a little challenge where I was offering a free signed copy of my book to whoever commented with the smallest population of the town that you're living in. And so I would love to know, as you join, say hey, say good morning, and let me know where you're calling from, or calling. You're not calling. You're just viewing, where you're viewing from, and what the population of your community is, because I would love to send you a free book. Let's see. Well, we give it just a couple more minutes for some other people to join us. I will tell you that this is kind of, these first 3 episodes are somewhat of a series. So we are talking about vision. The first one we discussed really just kind of setting the tone for why visualization even matters and why it's so important and how it actually can set us on a path for change if we want to make changes. Last week we looked at specifically the 7-step process to writing a vision that matters, and today we're going to talk about how to affirm that vision. So we're going to do a little bit of a recap for those of you that maybe missed last week's. I want to remind you that you can submit your vision to me, and I will happily review it for you and basically coach you for adherence to the process. In last week's episode, I shared some of the common things that people do when they first take a run at creating a vision. There are very specific things that are really common. Everybody tends to do them. So again, I'm offering that up for free. So the 2 things you got to get in on here, the vision, writing your vision, sending it to me, and telling me the size of the town where you're calling from, where you're viewing from. I need to get used, you're not calling me. Sorry, I just keep saying calling. It's like I'm old school. I'm Gen X. I'm sandwiched between the boomers and the millennials. It's a challenging place to be sometimes. Okay, so to review last week, if you missed it, I'm just gonna give you just a quick recap of the 7 specific steps for writing a vision. Because again, if you listen to the very first one, visualization is one of those things that we basically can trick our brain into believing something that we want to occur, tricking our brain into thinking it's actually happening. And it's because your brain can't distinguish the difference between something that's real and something that's imagined. So here's the things that we can do. And really, the analogy I like to use for writing a vision is thinking about it like writing a movie script. So the first thing we do is we describe the environment, where the scene is taking place. So are we outside or are we inside? What's going on? What's around us? The second thing is to describe exactly what's happening. And this is also really important when we think about a vision. And I also encourage you to really narrow down to one part of your life. You're not writing a vision in one paragraph about every single area of your life. You can write several paragraphs about each separate area if you so choose. But it's really important to keep it focused. And that's exactly the thing with number 2. It's a specific scene that's taking place. Like if it's money related, let's say you have an income or revenue goal, it would be opening your online banking account and seeing the amount, or being able to write a check for a certain amount versus just talking about a whole month of time or a 6-month period of time. Number 3 is to describe the dialogue. So it's not just you and your vision. I mean, you better be in your vision. You're the leading actor in your life, at least I hope so. But you'll be surrounded by other people. Even my career vision, although I work in my office on my own, I've got clients and I've got people that, hire me as a speaker, and I've got people that are in my group coaching program. My husband is in my vision for my business because he's in this with me, even though he's not physically right here. And I always joke, like, my dog is more in my business than my husband is. But dialogue is really important. You want to read it as if they were saying things to you. So instead of telling us, my husband said this, you actually write, my husband said, comma, quotes, and then whatever it is that he said. It makes it a more richer, a richer vision for your brain to read and to take in. Number 4 is describing the emotions. So here again, we talked about the impact of watching a movie, and the fact that if the characters are really either well written or they're really good actors, you can completely get wrapped up in what you're watching. And I talked about Joffrey on Game of Thrones, and he's a child actor, and I hated him, right? That's bizarre. I don't generally hate children. But the acting and the writing was so good that I know logically that he's an actor, but when I'm watching it, I get completely sucked in. Okay, so that's what we want to create, that kind of emotional connection. Always write in first person is number 5. Number 6 is always write in present tense. We don't want to talk about something having happened or something in the future. We want to write it as if it's happening right now. And then number 7 is just to always make sure we use positive images. So last week we talked about, like, we don't want to talk about avoiding donuts. You say the word donut, your brain thinks of the word donut, and suddenly you're craving donuts. Instead of saying, I choose healthy, vibrant, whatever foods, whatever the opposite of donuts are, right? So thinking about making sure that we're using words that are positive instead of kind of the things that we're avoiding. And we tend to do that. We tend to think about, I don't want these things. But when you're writing a vision, you got to keep it positive. Okay? So for those of you that didn't hear last week, that's just a real quick recap for you, and that's straight out of the Groove Finder's Guide workbook. So this is a companion workbook that you can get for free. I'll be posting the link here shortly. For anybody that listens to these live calls, you can get that whole workbook for free. And again, it's a PDF version. It's not the physical workbook. So for those of us that are just joining, I want to remind you that I am doing a book giveaway for this call. So if any of you are joining, I would love for you to say hi. Just say hey in the comments, and I will say hi right back to you. And then I want to know where you're viewing from and how big the community is that you're in. And the smallest one wins, which rarely happens, right? But I think that rural communities, we need each other. And so I would love to send you a signed copy of the book. So get in on that for those of you that are just joining. Okay, so let's talk today. We're getting into the new content. I just did a recap because, again, I want to make sure that you have the process in place for what you need to actually write a vision that matters and that gets you excited. Again, I think a lot of us have gone through a vision writing process. Just about every woman I know, and a lot of guys too, have created vision boards, but they don't do anything with them. They mean virtually nothing if you don't do anything with them. And so, hey, we got Renee Rungen. You're calling in from Raleigh. Yeah, you won't win this one, but you're from a very small town, so you should really post the population of the town where you live. I love you too, and I'm excited that you're on with me live. That makes me feel like you're right here with me, which is awesome. But yeah, Raleigh, probably not going to win. Remember, I've told everybody Oaks is 1,800. That's the number to beat. Actually, it's just got to be anything. I just want to give a book away. So please tell me where you're calling from, the size of the community, and let me give you a book. Okay, so on to affirmation, affirming the vision that you wrote. And this is the thing that, again, you can write it. It can be great. If you submit it to me and I coach you to it and I review it and I give you some suggestions for kind of better adhering to the process, it still isn't going to mean anything to you unless you do something with it. You have to engage with it. So there's a couple of options that we have for how to really affirm a vision and make it something that sticks. The first is we can always do it the old-fashioned way. You can just read it. You can print it out, have it somewhere right at your computer. Maybe you post it on the corner of your computer, or you just got a copy of it laying near your desk where you sit every day. At least once a day, you want to just read through that vision and remind yourself of what you're shooting for. And I say the old-fashioned way because there's a lot of creative ways. I'm going to give you a few other ideas. One of the things, hey, so we got Kirsten. She's from Lakeville, Population 60,000. Good thing you have my book already. Yeah, it probably is. I mean, you're going to win in life, Kirsten, but maybe not this book this time. But thank you for commenting. I'm happy to have you here. So the second thing, and this I've actually done before. So back when I did a live retreat with about 12 women, we wrote visions on 5 separate areas of our lives. And so they were like a paragraph each. And this was when I chose this route, this second option, which is really to record them in audio version. And so what was cool about that is that I like to walk, bike, half run. Let's not push it. I'm not running like marathons here or anything. Those days have passed. Hey, Steph. Yeah, 2,000 people. Is that a question mark? You're like, yeah, close, 2,000. I think Warren's a little smaller than that. We'll have to look it up. We can look it up. But that's okay. You're in the running because 2,000 is the smallest so far, besides us in Oaks at 1,800. Because here's the thing, guys. If you have my book already and you're like, well, I live in a small town, but I already have the book, I'll send you a signed copy. You can give it to somebody as a friend. Okay? All right. So far we've got Stephanie winning at 2,000. Okay? All right. So you can record yourself reading either the one vision you wrote. In this case, like I said, when I did this at this particular time in my life, I had 5 separate ones. But you have to read it with the emotion that you intended the vision to have. And so I remember when I was reading, especially one of mine, and the coolest thing about this is that this particular vision had to do with my kids. I wrote one specifically about the mother I want to be. And everything I had written at one point came to be. And it was like in my basement and it all happened all at like the same time. And I thought, wow, like it's so powerful. And I read it and I got choked up reading my own vision. That's the kind of emotion that it should create in you. So then when you listen to them, again, it's still planting that image, creating that imagery for your mind. It doesn't matter if you're physically reading it or just listening to it. So that's another option. Record them in audio and pop them into your headphones while you're out booking around town, biking, walking, hiking, whatever you're doing. Okay, the third option is to create a physical board, which I think most people are familiar with the idea of creating a physical board. And so you have a couple of options, which is cool. You can, just all you do is you get a big piece of tag board. If you've got multiple images that need to feed into the vision, I've got a woman that's in our group coaching program in Groove School. And her vision, I really think she could accomplish the visual piece of her vision basically with just a beautiful old farmhouse on a farm. In her vision, so she would probably still want to read something to accompany that image, but vision boards don't have to have tons of stuff on them. I'm going to tell you why mine does in a minute here. But basically, you've got the option of, finding magazines, cutting out images that speak to you, that speak to your vision, or you can obviously print things off the internet. Physically cut them out, put them on a vision board, on a physical piece of tag board. And then you've got to keep it somewhere visible and accessible. I actually had a friend once that made this beautiful vision board and then she put it in a closet. It's not going to do you any good in the closet. And then eventually one day you'll just throw it out and you'll never have actually looked at it. So you've got to look at it and you've got to think about your vision and you've got to think about why those images were chosen or selected to support what it is that you're trying to achieve. Okay? Here's your fourth option. And again, there might be more. And I'll just say that if you guys have ideas out there of how you could affirm a vision outside of the ones that I'm sharing with you, please, by all means. We all grow together. That's the point. I created mine in Pinterest for a couple reasons. So you can actually see what I've got. They're like naked bodies. It looks kind of creepy, but they're just massages, okay? One is a couples massage, one's a daily massage. This middle thing here, it's chakras. That's an actual car. I got to take that off my vision because I just got a new car. It doesn't happen to be that car, but it looks kind of like that car, which is kind of fun. You see that just says get shit done. So sometimes it's not overly complicated, but here's why I did the Pinterest vision board. Because it's with me all the time. I have the app on both my phone and this happens to be my iPad. But so when I went on vacation, we went to Cancun in January, and I was able to take this with me and sit on the beach and look at my vision board, which was an amazing way to take in, this goal setting that I had done for myself. The cool thing is you're in your car, you're waiting for your oil change, you're in the car wash, you're anywhere. you can take a few minutes and review your vision. To me, it's one of the technology has made things so amazing and so cool. And it's so much more feasible for me than a big physical piece of tag board. And I'm kind of like a snobby snob about my aesthetics, and a giant piece of tag board with stuff all over it doesn't appeal to my aesthetics. So I like it in this version right here. You can just make it a private board and then only you can see it. Okay, so here's another thing I want to share with you. Two things, actually. I also have daily affirmations. Yes, just like Stuart Smalley. And mind you, not say I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. But it's pretty much the same kind of idea. So here's what I've written daily affirmations about. I've written daily affirmations for the mother I want to be. So an example of one is that I speak to my children with a tone of love and I extend them the patience they deserve, because I'm not a patient woman. So these are the things that I'm trying to affirm into being for myself. I've written vision or affirmations about the wife that I want to be, the relationships I want to have, the career I want to generate, the money I want to generate. So money and career are separate for me because I'll just tell you, I have family of origin hangups about money, and I'm trying to overcome them because it's not healthy for me. We could do a whole Facebook Live segment on that topic alone. But then health and community. So I've got all of these. I've got like 3 to 5 affirmations in each of those sections. And why I started writing those was because of a book that I'd like to recommend to you. It's called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And I'm going to put it right now in the comments. So it comes up while we're talking about it. There we go. Wonderful book. I read this back in December. And so basically what he talks about is creating a morning ritual that supports, the person you want to become. And so he talks about the importance of silence through meditation, and he gives you kind of an outline of how long each of those things can be. See if I can remember them all. So it's silence, it's visualization. He has an acronym. I should have actually written all of this down, but this will entice you to go out and check out the book. Journaling is another thing that's a part of it. Affirmations are another part of it. And then exercising. So I can't at all think of what that acronym would have been right off the top of my head, but those are the 5. And so spending a little time just, really setting the intention of your day is the whole point of the Miracle Morning. And that is where I found, for me, the value in writing very specific affirmations. And so the cool thing is once I feel like I've developed that in myself to a place that I'm happy with that level of development, I can change them and add something different or something new. For me, I write affirmations based on what I feel I need to bring about. I'm not a huge fan of the word manifest, but if you love that word, that's exactly what we're talking about, right? Like setting your mind in an intention to bring something into your world. The silence, the slowing down, and the breathing, and then exercising. It's just a fantastic way to start your day. So I would recommend you check out The Miracle Morning. He has since written The Miracle Morning for, I think network marketers, I think is one of them. I think there's a Miracle Morning for realtors. I think there's all different kinds. So, check them out and pick what you want. But at a minimum, this idea of a morning ritual is a really meaningful way to engage with your vision. And so for me, some of these things are specific to my vision. Some of these things are specific to my affirmations. All the same, I look at them, I know what they mean, I know what I'm trying to bring about, and I'm engaging my mind, my heart, my emotions, everything, and trying to bring that about in my life. So as you're listening to this, please, if you've got questions for me, all you got to do is ask. But this third Facebook Live today is really the last in the series specifically about vision. Next week on the live show, we're going to be talking about the next phase, the next step, which is about how do I write or create habits that support this vision? Because that's what living an aligned life looks like. And alignment is much more important than we probably give credit towards. We don't think about it that much probably. We just kind of go from day to day trying to keep our heads above water a lot of times and not thinking about, is what I'm doing really serving me the best so I can serve others in the best way? So alignment is really what we're talking about. So thinking about taking actions every day that are in alignment with the vision that you're creating. Because if this is where you want to go, everything you do today either takes you closer, puts you closer towards that, or pulls you away from it. So I've got a very specific, and it's like goal setting, really. And I hate SMART goals. I hate the acronym SMART goals. I don't use it. And I'm going to share with you instead a replacement for that acronym. It's a 5-letter replacement that I just think is much more in tune with how we really think about life as human beings, instead of just like, it's not always smart. Sometimes it's how we feel in the moment. And that's important to consider as well. Okay, so big dreams, big vision, it requires action. We can sit around and think about this stuff all day long, but if we don't take action, it doesn't really matter. So next week, we're going to learn this process for how to create habits, right, actionable habits that support what we're trying to bring about. Okay, and so the other thing I need to mention is that next week, due to my family still being on vacation, well, actually, I'm not going to lie, next Monday, we're all getting dented. We're having family dentist day in the morning. So that's where I will be at 9 a.m. You do not want me to call you live with my mouth hanging open and hands in my face, right? Well, you probably do now that I've said that, but I'm not going to, because I will be foggy-headed and not clear to share with you this important stuff. So we're going to be changing the time from 9 a.m. Central Standard Time to 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So still be coming at you live next Monday, and that's the 17th, to talk about goal setting the not smart way. That's what you'll be seeing as the title, but it ties back into this vision. And so I encourage you to come, listen, share it with your friends. If you have people in your life that you think would benefit from hanging out with us, send them. It's 20 minutes. It's a quick 20 minutes, and they can watch on replay as well. Okay, so as always, I'm going to share the link to the free download for the Groove Finders Guide series. It's 14 different topics to help you find your groove wherever you may be living. And I'm thrilled to have you here. As always, having an awesome, awesome week. Groove on, everybody. If you've got questions, comments for me, topics you'd like to see me tackle on Rebecca Undum Live, all you got to do is ask. I would love to accommodate your requests. Okay? Have an awesome day, everybody. I will see you all soon.